Good morning, awesome afternoon, and fantastic evening. This is Carla from Rehan, Allahwala's World of Connections. And I have the honor today to speak with Nick Wood from the UK, Farnbourough, but he'll tell us about that in a moment, about his life, his work, and his passions. And like always, this show is sponsored by the Institute of Peace, which is an online organization promoting peace one conversation at a time. Nick, will you please introduce yourself?
Oh, thank you, Carla. It's very nice of you to interview me today. And I have to say, yeah, it's a tough place to pronounce for anyone in the US. I actually live in Farnborough in Hampshire in the UK. We're about 35 miles outside of London, heading to the west. So it's a lovely place. If people don't know it, it is famous. It is the home of British aviation. When in the States you had the Wright brothers, when they took off their plane a couple of years later here, it was actually an American, Bill Cody. He was the first powered flight in the UK, about 150 meters up the road here. First man to take off by powered flight, and then became the first man to crash in the UK as well, about 200 meters further along. But that was his claim to fame. Yeah, my name is Nick Wood. I am a digital marketer and Amazon live stream influencer. And in the past, I used to be an accountant, but I wasn't too fussed on accountancy. So I decided to change. Well, you know, it's like you get certain number of years, you do the same thing over and over again. I was very, very good at it. But I just wanted to do something else. I couldn't see myself doing that for another 25 odd years, so decided to do something else. That's how I started my digital marketing journey about 9-10 years ago now, I guess. And yeah, it's been fun. It's been a roller coaster, but it has been fun. I'm one of 4 children, so I have a brother and 2 sisters, and I have lots of nieces and nephews, and great nieces and great nephews as well. That's always nice to know. Yeah, that's pretty much me in a I was going to say in a nutshell, but like a brief synopsis. I also work for a company we founded recently, Bite Size Me, and this was a brand we set up for a company I was working for, specifically to help micro business owners locally to set up with their digital marketing. So that included all their website builds, their paid ads with YouTube, Google, social media. Yeah, I'm a I also have apart from being on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, all these places, I'm also quite keen on TikTok at the moment. I'm discovering a whole new audience. But the thing I love doing, my absolute passion right now, and I'm very, very lucky to be able to do it, is the live stream influencing with Amazon. So I have my own shows on Amazon.com in the States. And for someone in the UK, I think there's only, until recently, there was only about 6 of us. I think there might be about 10 of us in the UK now. So very, very, very lucky to be able to do that. It's not something that you can just rock up and do. You have to actually be an Amazon associate, first of all, let Amazon apply to be an influencer. You have to have a certain number of followers on your social media. They will pick one, either Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, or Facebook. And yeah, that's and then you're allowed in. Then you have to actually do the live streaming. Then you have to be accepted, and then you raise through the ranks, and your live streams get shown to more people. It's great fun, and it's a great way to, it's live streaming and getting paid for it, which is something for years us live streamers were doing, and getting not a lot, but yeah, it's fantastic.
I need to learn to get paid for it. I love what I do, and I feel so honored to be able to do it. Let's go back. You said you have 4 sisters and 1 brother, correct?
No, 2 sisters and 1 brother.
Hey, I've been talking all day. I'm sorry. Are you the youngest or the oldest in the
I
family?
am 3rd. I have an older brother, older sister, then there's me, and then there's my younger sister.
When did you get interested in digital marketing? You said you were an accountant. How long were you doing that work?
Well, I was doing that from, I kind of drifted. I don't think anyone actually wakes up and says, I want to be an accountant. It's something that you drift into because you really don't know what you want to do. And so I was doing that pretty much from leaving school, going to night school, getting qualified. And I've been doing that for 20 plus years. And yeah, it was great because it was enabled me to go from the UK. I was able to actually go live in Germany. I was pricing healthcare, which was great fun. And I was pricing healthcare for the British forces. Well, I wasn't in the forces, but I was in the organization that provided the healthcare to the British forces all over the world. And in the biggest contract was in Germany. The UK government decided we were going to pull out of Germany, so we knew that there was only going to be certain amount of years left. So in 2013, that's when we had the final contract. Got that agreed, got that done, and these were multi-million-pound contract or 100 million pounds contract. But then decided to do something different, and I said, right, whatever, I'll try lots of different things, and whatever I really enjoy doing, I'll carry on doing. And that's how I started. So my initial plan was to go back to the UK, manufacture sausages, because obviously Germany is very popular with sausages, sell them into markets. But what I discovered, and one of these things, you set up a business, you think, okay, what do I need? Oh, a website. So I went and taught myself a little bit about that, and just managed to get a website up, the Perfect Sausage Company. But I never really got into making the sausages. But what I did do was I ranked my website higher than the award-winning local butcher that made beautiful sausages. And it was that sort of thing, the ability to create websites and then understand search engine optimization kind of appealed to my accounting analytical brain. The website build was like appealed to my creative side. And so that was how I got started. And I enjoyed it. So then I went and got certified with, in the UK, it was the only Ofsted certified school, the Internet Business School. So we got certified with them for, well, for everything, email marketing, website building, SEO, the whole gambit, video. But then also I went and got certified with Google for search ads, YouTube ads, got certified with digital marketer in the US, Ryan Dice, for email marketing, for paid ads on social media. Google Analytics, got certified for that. People kind of miss out on the fact that the analytics are where the real money is, because you really need to understand a customer's journey from A to B to C to D to E. A lot of people just use it and say, oh, I had X amount of visitors, and sometimes they might understand if they say, oh, the bounce rate was 60% or 100% on that page, and then they don't really know the whole structure through it. So it's a case of, these are things which are snapshots, but if you understand how that whole ecosystem works, then we can trace people from our ads or from any other platform coming onto our own property, through apps through to our websites, and then what they do on those websites and where we lose them. It's like, I think it's something crazy, like 98% of website visitors, only 2% of people do any form of action on them. So yeah, so it's all good fun.
Well,
I sound such a nerd.
I'm a nerd myself, so I totally get it. But how did you get your? I know you started with sausages, but how did you go from making sausages? Let's go from accounting to wanting to make sausages to advertising, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I just decided that I wanted to do something totally different. So I made the decision that there was, I was either going to be sitting in Germany for that last contract to run its course, pick up a big redundancy check, and then come back to the UK and then have to do some more accounting, or, I could see the writing was on the wall. I thought, let's go back. Let's just try different things. So I tried the sausages. I discovered that I enjoyed building the website for that company. And I then realized I really enjoyed the digital marketing side. And so by then learning the whole expanse of digital marketing, that's what I really enjoyed. And then from that, video was the thing I became really passionate about. And from that, I went on to live streaming, producing, and then being in front of the camera. And in fact,
how many years have you been doing this?
9 years.
And you've been very successful, it sounds like.
Oh, it's been a roller coaster. Some things were good, some things were bad. We all got hit by the pandemic, everything shutting down. So I was running ads for clients in the hospitality industry. Of course, hospitality just shut like that. And that's kind of how I really developed into live streaming, because I decided that whilst the 2 days before the UK shut down, I thought, right, what I'm going to do is I will hold a space open for local businesses to come on with a live stream and talk to me and tell me if they're still open, how we can still trade with them, what we can do. And so I decided to have like a 1 hour show. And I was producing live streams up to then. I then decided, right, I'll go in front of the camera. And so I sat there for an hour every day, waiting to talk to business owners. I was going up and down the high street just to let them know that what I was trying to do. A lot of them weren't very interested. And really for the first couple of shows, 2 or 3 shows, I think the first show I actually got my nephew, one of my nephews on, who had his own business, to talk. And then after that, there was pretty much nothing. So I learned very quickly how to talk, and you might have to shut me up. I learned very quickly how to talk for an hour live streaming with no guest. And so that was really, that was how I developed. And then whilst I was doing that, this was in the day that Facebook used to give us huge amounts of reach for our live streams. They no longer do that. But I was getting massive reach. And then I got seen by a lady that had a businesswoman that had her own network, a group on Facebook, about 3,500 people, local business people. And she reached out to me and said, oh, wow. She said, I saw what you're doing. I think I might have some people that would be interested. And I went from there to suddenly I had 3, I think at one stage I was doing 3 or 4 interviews in that hour segment. And so that's how I then learned to interview people. From that, a lady I interviewed, it's a funny story, lady I interviewed, she was into, it's a very bad thing to say. She is someone that passionately believes in manifesting, and she was talking about it, and she came off the interview and she said, Nick, that was an amazing interview. You didn't ask any stupid questions. And I said, well, no, because I get it. I understand it. I've got the book just behind me. I've got these various books. I totally get it. And she said, oh, look, would you help me create a Facebook group and a paid group? And so we did. We live streamed every day, 8 o'clock in the morning in the UK for half an hour, and built up a Facebook group and a paid group off the back of that. She then wanted to do her own thing. And I said, yeah, you just go and do your thing. I'll go and do my thing. And that's how I started live streaming.
Wow. And you started live streaming how far back?
So I'd done a bit of it when Facebook started, when Facebook Lives came out, I guess 2016, 17. I think that's when I first started live streaming, but I didn't really have a message to say. I was using some free software, OBS, to actually have it like I've got the green screen here. So I was actually making them a little bit more interesting. But yeah, I didn't really have anything to say. So that's when I started to do more producing. But no, so from the start of the pandemic was when I really started live streaming in front of the camera myself on a mission. as it were. So yeah, and I think I've done, oh God, well over 1,500 now, I think.
I probably have done about the same amount. I need to rebrand myself, not just speaking English, but the reason to why is it important to speak English? And I think both of us have some good ideas about that. What I would like to know is, would that be easy to do? And how can we change my Facebook and my website to rebrand it?
Yeah, that's a pretty simple thing to do. Obviously, with branding, any sort of branding, you need to understand the core principles of what it is you're trying to achieve. But actually, yeah, it's a simple thing to do, and it's when you're doing it, you have a choice. Either you can, if you want to take the people that you've already got, then we go one direction. If you want a total fresh start, do another direction. But basically, the key here is that we know that English is the international language, and so there's so much you can do, and that's why we're so lucky that we are born speaking English, because there's so much we can do, particularly when it comes to the online space, because you can build websites, we can attract anyone across the globe, and it's that combination of, and this is what people say, oh, do I really want to do paid ads? Well, basically you've got a choice. Either you're going to pay for ads to drive your traffic, or you're going to spend your time getting traffic to your website or your social media. But actually the truth is you want a combination of both, and it's doable totally. How deep do you want me to go on that, Carla?
Yeah, keep on talking. I'm not sure how to get this started, but I want to do it soon. There's a lot of changes happening for me now. And I know nothing about websites. So is this something where I'm going to need to hire someone, or can I get someone to help me put it together?
Okay. What we find that most, well, I say most, what we find the most successful people, they hire someone that is a professional that understands what they're doing to do it. And the biggest reason for that is because their passion is not building websites and marketing all their social media. Their passion is, in your case, teaching English. So that is what you're good at. That is what your skill set is. Why would you then want to spend hours trying to learn how to do something? And what we often see is that, especially with new businesses, people say, oh, I've got my cousin or so-and-so is just learning coding at school, and they go and get someone to build their website, which is great. And oftentimes people will build a beautiful website. I've seen, there's a big difference between websites which are built for income generation, if you like, or websites which are built to look pretty. And so web designers typically, I'll be careful what I'm saying here, web designers typically will build a beautifully designed website. And I've seen it so many times, and you think, wow, that's beautiful. But actually, what it doesn't do is it doesn't allow people to go through that journey, because ultimately, we're all in this to actually make some money. Then, we want people to go through a journey so that they can actually pay for something at the end. So what often happens is you get a beautiful website, but its functionality in order to get the click and get someone to a cart and get someone to pay is where it gets let down. So what happens is a business owner typically will sort of like have this initially, and then something will go wrong, and then actually the person that built it is no longer doing it anymore. So they, so it's like, oh, hang on, who am I going to get to do X, Y, and Z? And it's just, I've seen it so often where people just start down a path, get it cheap, and then realize that a year later, they're going to have to do it all over again and actually pay someone to do it properly. And actually, first time out, you just get someone to do it properly. You haven't got a problem. It's all set up exactly how you want it. Does what it says on the tin. All good. and that's, you know, and that's the thing. That's what, you know, and that includes the tracking and all the linked elements as well. So yeah, we can. I mean, that's what we do as a day job. And you know, and again, people can spend as little or as much as they like. So we can have, you know, someone can have a nice small website that does the things, you know, 3 or 4 pages, and that's it. Or if you're selling a product, then, you know, you can have multiple products, then we can have, you know, hundreds of pages on a website. And, you know, people get confused about, oh, what do I need to do to get it? And actually, no, one of the big things is people think, build it and they will come. No, not online. That doesn't work online unless you actually do something to actually get it found or drive people to it. Yeah, you're going to build a website and people say, "Why come I got no visitors? I've got the website out. It looks brilliant." It's like, well, no one knows it's there. And so there's a whole, you know, it's a big marketing piece. All the little elements have to fall into the right place. And I speak from personal experience. You know, I have lost thousands of, I say lost, I've spent thousands of pounds on advertising, paid ads, which were completely wasted. Well, not totally, because I learned from it, that didn't do the job I wanted it to do. And that's, you know, and it's a painful lesson, but it's the best way to learn. Is, for me, the best way to learn was, you know, if I was putting up my own money, and then, you know, you really do learn from your mistakes. But it's like, there's no mistake. There's either, basically, it's a case of, you do something, if it doesn't work, or you look at the results, and if they're not the results you want, you change it until you get the results you want. And that is pretty much marketing, to be honest. It's split test, split test, split test, split test until you get the results you want. And you'll never ever get the perfect marketing campaign, because you can always split test it and get it even better. That's the truth, but it takes hard work.
How does one begin to make those changes or find a good person to do it?
Do your research. You know, there are good people out there. I would say, you know, go and get some professionals that have got a track record. Go and see their portfolios. You know, one of the things we do is we offer a 2-hour consultation just to see where our expertise can fit in with what you're trying to achieve. And if we can't, then, you know, we won't. But what we can always do is give someone a roadmap, to say, okay, look, we can look at your website, what your marketing is doing, and then we can say, okay, look, you know, this is what we think you need to do. These are changes we think you need to make. You can either make them yourselves, or you can employ us to do it. One of the things we do as well, makes us a little bit different, I think, is a lot of web development design companies, marketing companies will charge you a retainer monthly fee, and we don't do that, because we just think it's crazy. And that's the thing. A lot of agencies will do that, because that's their easy income when times are hard. Whereas we just pay as you go. It's a case of, you know, we built you a website, which does exactly what you want. We've shown you how to operate it, how you want to. If you want to add stuff on, we show you how to do that. If you want us to do it, that's fine as well. We'll do it, but we won't tie you in. So it's just a case of as and when you need it. And so, you know, it's little things that you know, you know, you can sniff out a person that is good and won't let you down and is telling the truth. So don't be, you know, I'm probably teaching you to suck eggs, but, you know, don't be dazzled by all the, oh, we can do this, we can do that, we can do the other. If they're making wild promises, then tie them down to exactly how they would do that. One of the things we do at the moment as a demonstration is, you know, just for the bite size website, you know, I think I've spent hours and hours generating blog after blog and page after page of content that I know is not going to be particularly seen by someone who's looking at the website, because it's not in the menus or anything like that, but it's designed specifically to get ranking in Google. So it's how it's structured, and so people can actually go and find it, but not necessarily the pages that I'm creating. It's basically to get the other pages involved. So it's not a case of do one page of a website, that'll be it. You know, you've got there's a whole raft of things to do. And actually, one thing, my pet things at the moment, which I'm very, very passionate about, is something called WCAG, which is the accessibility, because there's 20% of the population, or certainly in the UK, and I think it's probably the same for the States, 20% of the population has a disability of some sort. And as people get older, the big disabilities are going to be their vision. And so everything is going online. And so you want your websites to be able to be, accessed by everybody. In fact, they're putting it into law. So in the US, I know, and in the UK, then governments have to have WCAG 2.1 AA accreditation. And it shouldn't just, that's in law, but it shouldn't be law. I mean, it should be anyone who's got a business should be doing that as well, because you want as many people to be able to access your website and your content as possible.
Now, knowing that, how long does it take to rebuild a website? And would I need to change my domain name?
That's entirely up to you. If you do some, we do some keyword research, depends how much how big the website you want the big website to be. I mean, you can, if you wanted to, maybe you don't want to change your domain name, or maybe you do, but you don't want to lose the old domain name. So you can actually just have your old domain name pointing at the new website with the new domain name. So much we can do.
What I want to do is just change it from learning English by speaking English. Give the understanding that you're not actually learning English, you're getting the ability to speak English so you can be effective dealing with foreigners who do speak English. And I know that it needs to be catchy and not all those words, but there's a need for a change. Instead of looking at the little cartoony character, we need to make it a little more professional. Can that be done without it being an arm and a leg and many, many months ahead in the future?
I mean, the time span, you could probably do it very quickly in the space of a week or two, but it depends exactly on what is the remit, so you can change anything. It's quite simple, but we just need to know exactly what it is that needs to be changed. Everything is changeable. I mean, a website is just ones and zeros broken down into its core element. It's super simple to change.
How long did it take for you to learn how to do websites?
I mean, for basic ones, or knowing how to put one together really well, was a few months, but you're constantly learning because things are constantly changing. And so it's a bit like, people think about, you go to school and you finish your school, go to university, finish your university, but this is such a rapidly changing arena that it's constantly changing. So you're constantly learning. I mean, a bit like with analytics, Google Analytics, because of GDPR in the UK, in the EU, Google Analytics has become illegal to use in a lot of European countries without making some adjustments to it, and which is why Google have brought out GA4, which is a new analytics platform, which isn't as simple as tweaking the old one. It's a whole new tracking element, which takes out all that personal details.
Wow.
Mm.
I know you need to get to dinner with your friend, and I think you're a little over time.
I am, yeah.
So I need to end this. What would you like the audience to take with them in their thought process about what you do?
From the one of the things that I am passionate about is helping people, utilize what they have, teach what they know, or actually just, you know, I've got a YouTube channel all about making money online with different side hustles that are great. And of course, yeah, you can learn how to build a website, you can learn how to edit videos, we can learn how to do things which are of value. And that's why my big takeaway for anyone is that, yeah, everything is learnable. But if you're, you know, but if you're on a mission and you need something quick, then the quickest way to get something is to actually pay for it. And that, if it's not your passion, don't do it. Get someone who's passionate about what they do to do it, and they'll do a much better job. You do what you're passionate about. Let someone else who's passionate do what they're good at. And if it needs paying, then you need to pay it.
Okay, and with that, I want to thank you for speaking with me. And since we went over, I'm very concerned about getting you out. We will continue this discussion. And I want to thank you, those who watch or will watch in the future about websites and learn about Nick Wood, because he's absolutely awesome. And remind you that this show is sponsored by the Institute of Peace, which is an online organization promoting peace, one conversation at a time. And Nick, we wave goodbye?
We
Bye,
sure can.
everyone.
Goodbye, everybody.
Don't go anywhere yet.